this video is an idea, a request by subscriber PZS3668, who requested a book reading video, and it got me curious about a good book that I could read for this video, and I'm glad I settled on one. For this video, I will be reading 100 Animals That Can Effing End You, written by Mamadou Ende. Mamadou Ende is a very funny animal enthusiast and content creator, and he has a YouTube channel called Casual Geographic, and he is one of my favorite YouTube content creators. I always learn a lot and laugh a lot from his videos. Let's get into the book. I will be reading these in parts because I don't really have the attention span for one long, massive video. It's an ADHD thing. Yeah. Oh, also, these animals are in alphabetical order. And what I like about this book is that Mamadou includes what he calls a Merc rating, or a subjective rating of how dangerous these animals are to other animals, to humans. Yes. The African crested porcupine, Merc rating 4. Do you know how much of a cheat code you'd need to have lions and hyenas afraid of you? The African crested porcupine has about 30,000 reasons to make predators not choose violence. If those foot-long quills get in your skin, they'll swell up and then push through your flesh until they hit something important. A popular myth used to be that porcupines shoot their quills out as a form of self-defense. What they actually do is turn around and charge full force backward into a potential predator, which is exactly how lions, hyenas, and even your pet dog can end up with a face full of painful quills. These rodents can injure lions so severely that their only option to survive is hunting humans. There have been documented cases of crippled and emaciated lions going after people and their cattle after being injured in an encounter with a porcupine, which is why the same apex predators that can hunt walking tanks like the Cape buffalo will hesitate to go after a beaver with blades growing out of its back. African elephant. Merc rating 10. Oh yeah, also these Merc ratings are on a scale from 1 to 10. Yeah, elephants are no joke. Yeah. Size does matter. And at 12,000 pounds and an average height of 10 feet at the shoulder, no land animal is bigger than the African elephant. Squaring up with one of these is canceling your subscription to living. And they're about it too. Some of the largest land mammals on the planet, like hippos and rhinos, can get knocked over like a bowling pin by a motivated adult elephant. And with a pair of tusks, they can easily one-shot any opponent foolish enough to try them. Don't try elephants. Try Jesus, not elephants. Also, there's nothing else like them. Bears, cats, and dogs look somewhat alike. Nothing on this planet looks like a big, overgrown walking tank with tusks and a ridiculously long nose. Speaking of which, that trunk has 40,000 muscles and can lift 700 pounds. This pachyderm has more muscles in its nose than in your entire family tree combined. But best of all, African elephants are smart. They're intelligent enough to remember for years, probably decades, learn to use tools, solve problems, and they even have empathy. They've been known to value human lives enough to save them. In 2012, after Lawrence Anthony dubbed the Elephant Whisperer, passed away, a herd of elephants traveled for miles to his home in an almost eerie funeral-like procession. While the myth that elephants see humans as cute isn't true, that apparently doesn't stop them from seeing some of us as family. At the end of the day, African elephants are one of the most intelligent, unique, and complex animals in the world, but with a tanky build, a trunk that can power lift hundreds of pounds, and a devious mind, they can also be the world's most dangerous when they want to be. Surviving an elephant. Here's where he shows his humor. Surviving an elephant. Notice I said elephant and not elephant attack. That's because if an elephant decides it wants to hurt you, there isn't a force in nature that's gonna save you. Forget being sent to Jesus. A pissed off elephant will send your soul straight to oblivion. Here are a few ways to improve your chances. If an elephant approaches you and the ears are relaxed, it's likely a mock charge. If the ears are pinned back, it's gonna attack. Check out the trunk. A relaxed trunk means it doesn't consider you a threat yet. A curled trunk means there is malicious intent, and that elephant is preparing to end you. Stay downwind. Elephants have poor eyesight, but a strong sense of smell. Find a barrier. You want to keep something between you and the elephant. A car, a tree, a mailbox. Literally anything is better than facing this guy defenseless. Don't turn your back on them. Elephants take this as a sign of fear or submission. They will hunt you down and give you the world's worst facelift. I like that because there are videos online of elephants yeeting smaller creatures into the air with their tusks on their face. Clever. Distract the elephant. If it starts to approach you, throw a decoy object. You might be able to distract it long enough to escape. If these these methods work and you actually survive, make sure you play the lottery because you are one lucky motherfucker. African wild dogs. Merc rating 7.5. African wild dogs are one of the most ruthless stat padders in all of Africa. They are about the same size as the average pet dog, but there's one terrifying fact about them. They never get tired. And there can be up to 20 of them on your ass. The punishment for resisting is they tear your guts and intestines out while you're still alive. And yes, that is one of the worst ways to die. On a continent with vicious animals like lions, hyenas, and, worst of all, tourists. African wild dogs are the last thing you want to smoke with. They actually decide as a pack whether to go on a hunt, and they vote by sneezing. If enough wild dogs sneeze, they decide to hunt. This means that the difference between a zebra going home to its family or getting its guts scrambled could really come down to a wild dog with a pollen allergy. Also, remember when I said they stat pad. They have one of the highest kill rates of any pack animal. Wolf packs have an estimated 14% hunting success rate, and lions flex at an average of 30%. But this African bush Cujo has an 80% rate. So if a pack presses you, there's an 8 out of 10 chance you're about to become one of the 8. Because they live in a dangerous environment, they're impossible to domesticate. Come at them with a rolled up newspaper and you might just end up in one. American bison. Merc rating 6. The Great American Bison provides an excellent case study of how even the most intelligent beings on the planet can be remarkably stupid. Because you would think weighing more than 2,000 pounds and standing 6 feet tall would be enough to make people social distance from you. But every so often, Some idiot with a camera phone walks up to an adult bison for a photo op, only to go viral for getting steamrolled by this tank with legs. Honestly, yeah, no, don't. Leave wild animals alone. Leave wild animals alone. I'll say it in this year. Leave wild animals alone. Do not test a bison. As heavy as they are, they can run you down at over 30 miles per hour, meaning an animal in the same weight class as a car is also fast enough to snatch gold at the Olympics. Not to mention, they can change directions in an instant and can even clear a 6-foot fence in one leap. Oh, I almost forgot about their horns. And apparently, I'm not the only one, because every year, people get severely gored after violating this steroid cow's personal space. And the worst part is, 99% of these encounters are the human's fault. American bison aren't naturally aggressive. They're not constantly looking for a fight like their distant cousins, the African buffalo. They're pacifist vegans that just mind their business and graze on grass. Unfortunately, they might be too well-mannered for their own good. It usually isn't until someone gets too close to one of their calves that people realize just what a pissed off Appa can do. It's because of this misunderstanding that in Yellowstone National Park, more people get sent to the hospital by this giant PED goat than by grizzly bears. The fact that we nearly hunted them into extinction must make it that much more cathartic when they turn a tourist into a frisbee. American white-tailed deer. Merc rating 9.5. The American white-tailed deer has to be the world's most average animal. Its presence alone probably isn't enough to be the highlight of your day, but at the same time, if you're in a car with friends, you're legally and morally obligated to acknowledge the existence of any deer on the side of the road with the phrase, "Look birthed in a vacuum of mediocrity and perish in a cloud of mundanity. Mundanity. There are about 30 million deer in the United States, each as unremarkable as the next. Free the deer, my man, damn. Don't get me wrong, I don't hate deer. Are you sure? They're not bad. They're just not great either. They kind of just exist. And that's okay. And that's what deer are. Okay. If you think deer are boring, your expectations are probably too high. When God storyboarded animals, he started with deer and went from there. I can think of about 10 animals that are probably inspired by deer. And while a deer probably won't star in any movie unless you shoot its animated mother, we can all appreciate the simplicity of its presence. Yet, these basic animals somehow manage to kill 200 people a year on average in the United States alone. By running in front of cars, they wound countless more by causing 1.3 million car accidents. That's why these fluffy-tailed kamikazes are the most dangerous animals in America. That makes sense though, right? That they're not super outwardly aggressive creatures, but just by being oblivious of surroundings. And also, yeah, we build roads and towns in their habitat. Yeah, when those combine, yeah, they're pretty destructive animals. But also so are humans. Asian giant hornet. Merc rating 3. Remember all of the headlines in 2020 about the coming of the murder hornets? These highly venomous Asian giant hornets erase about 30 to 50 names in Japan a year. In 2013 alone, they turned 42 people in one Chinese province to past tense. It seems like their merc rating should be higher than 3. I don't know. I didn't write the book though, but they rack up bodies. They apparently illegally entered the United States in 2019, with the first sightings happening in Blaine, Washington. One hornet nearly unsubscribed wildlife expert Coyote Peterson from life. So imagine getting pressed by an entire nest. Yo, so I I don't know if y'all ever watch Coyote Peterson, but Coyote Peterson is conceptually what you get if you combine Crocodile Hunter with Jackass. So, the guy with his YouTube channel called Brave Wilderness, he goes out of his way to document getting stung and bitten by various animals. Like, he has a camera crew and all that who are there to capture him, deliberately capturing these venomous and biting and stinging animals with the intention of pissing them off to make them sting him or bite him, to document the effects of getting stung or bitten by these animals. Pretty Johnny Knoxville, I would say. So, why aren't they still front page news? Basically, the government said it was on site. The Department of Agriculture made it clear that we couldn't give them a chance to establish in America. Hornet nests that were found were quickly put out of commission for the sake of our way of life. One nest allegedly had 200 queen hornets before they were all put in a pack. That said, the homicidal vibe check is actually rarely ever lethal to people. Wildlife experts believe it would be impossible for them to become a permanent resident invasive species in America. So Asian hornets are like a TikTok trend or performative activism. A big deal in the moment, but they're overblown and they don't last that long. Australian magpie, Merck rating 6.5. I think we all can agree that Australia is Satan's petting zoo. But do you want to know what animal there worries me the most? The magpie. This feathery, devil-eyed demon put legitimate fear in my heart because of 2 words: malicious intent. Most animals in Australia will leave you alone if you respect their space, but magpies will seek out fades to run and smoke to give, whether you deserve it or not. They're not typically aggressive, but during nesting season, they will turn up and choose violence every time. These feathery spawns of Lucifer will dive bomb and bird smack people in an act of malice called swooping. I had a friend tell me she wears a helmet during nesting season, an outcome of playing real-life Angry Birds. If you think I'm exaggerating, a magpie killed a baby in 2021 by swooping on her mom. One less person in the world because this hell canary decided to be a dick to mankind. Did I mention they remember faces? Magpies can memorize faces for up to 5 years and will even teach their chicks who to trust, who to fear, and whose life to make a living hell. Piss off the magpie mafia, and you've made a choice to live in fear. The best way to describe magpies, it's like if monkeys had wings. And no, it's not as cool as you think it would be. The animals that would take over if we weren't here. Cats. They are nature's killing machine, but they're one of the few animals that ends lives for fun. These serial killers erase billions of animals every year. Without humans to check them, they stat pad and put entire populations on shirts. Crows. Crows are smart enough to take over the world. They've low-key got Tokyo on lock, and because they can fly, these aerial assaults often go unpunished. As one of the most intelligent animals that can use tools, there's evidence that not only have they entered their own Stone Age, but crows also seem to be actively domesticating wolves in a way that sounds way too familiar. Combine their smarts with flight and remove humans, and the world would get Hitchcocked. Goats. Believe it or not, goats are actually pretty OP. With their ridiculous climbing ability, they'd be able to reach food that their competition couldn't. But what would really make them a problem is how fast they multiply. In 1959, 3 goats escaped into the Galapagos. In 14 years, there were 30,000, and by the 1990s, they had spawned 250,000 goats. It got so bad that we literally had to go to war against them. Okay. Tigers are the biggest big cats, easily growing to about 10 feet long and occasionally tipping the scales at well over 600 pounds. Yet, for as massive as they are, tigers, especially Bengal tigers, are much more athletic than you'd imagine. They have a vertical leap of 12 feet and can reach 40 miles per hour in short bursts. Their striped coat allows them to sneak up on prey and, in one explosive charge, ambush and kill them. Before their prey even has time to panic, the steroid Garfield will chomp life-canceling teeth through its windpipe, and with a bite force estimated to be 1,050 pounds per square inch, the jaws of a motivated tiger slam shut almost twice as hard as a lion's at 650. As ambush hunters, tigers prefer to attack from behind. A common tactic used by people who live in close proximity with tigers is to wear a mask backward. The idea is that if a tiger sneaks up on you, seeing a face on the back of your head might discourage it from attacking. But since nature lives on veteran difficulty, tigers are starting to wise up to this trick, meaning soon the backward mask won't work. As if that weren't bad enough, God's striped delete button has another terrifying talent. Tigers have been reported to imitate the calls of their prey in order to fool them into a false sense of security before turning them into a was. Bengal tigers are said to mimic the mating calls of the sambar deer, and Amur tigers can replicate the sounds of the Asiatic black bear. So now we have to wonder, how long until they figure out how to mimic us? I'm going to call the video right here, as it has already gotten into the 40-minute range. But as I've said, I will be doing this in parts. So there's a lot more of this to come. And also, my Zoom recorder is Good night.